A couple weeks ago, I released a video where I reviewed this new crazy looking ring light. The only reason I bought it was because it was so cheap. It was just 150 bucks. I'd never heard of the manufacturer before, GVM, great video maker. And when I released the video about this light, the light sold out everywhere. It's an incredible value, and for 150 bucks, you might as well buy it if you were in the market for something like it. And a few days later, GVM themselves reached out to me and they said, Lee, we've got some other lights you need to check out. And they mailed me 3 cases full of lights. Today we're going to be opening just one of these cases. I have no idea what is in this, but let's check it out. Okay, it looks like they've sent me a 3-light LED panel setup here, and I've got a lot of learning to do, but the first thing that I've noticed right off the bat is it looks like each one of these lights can be used with the provided AC adapter or these standard, I think they're called V-mount style batteries. I may have some of these, so I'm gonna try these in just one second. We've also got a lot of accessories as well. We have different diffusers that come with it. We also have these larger diffusers, which I didn't quite understand how this worked, but if you want to, you can use these included brackets to hold these diffusers off the front of the LEDs to make the light source even larger. So that's pretty cool. We've got a remote control as well, and then they've given us some steel cable here. Let's go ahead and set some of these up and see how they work. Let's start out with some bad news. The light stands that are included with this kit are incredibly rickety feeling. Now, if you were just going to set up the lights and leave them in place, these light stands would be 100% fine. But I just find that you have to screw these knobs down so tight. And even still, I know you probably can't hear this on camera, but it still moves around just a little bit. And if I had to do this every single day, build them up, tear them down, I think these light stands would probably drive me crazy. So it's cool they threw these in the box, but I personally will be using other light stands that I already own. The lights themselves have much better build quality. These things are made of metal, and like I mentioned earlier, you either have the option to plug the lights in with the included AC adapters, or as you can see with this middle light here, I've got 2 V-mount batteries that are powering it instead. Now this kit comes with a remote control, and I'll show you how that works in just one second, but there's one really weird feature with these lights. I'm not sure how they do this, but somehow they're able to communicate with each other without any sort of connection. They just work right out of the box. So what I've done is I've set this light to group 1, and this is the master, and then I put this light in group 1 and it's a slave, and this is also in group 1 and it's a slave as well. So whatever I change this light to, these lights will wirelessly copy it. I'm not sure how it's working, but check this out. As I turn this, you can see all of them dim. I can also change the Kelvin temperature here. And it takes just a second for them to catch up, but I mean, this is pretty wild. And again, my favorite feature here is that there's no connecting, there's no Bluetooth, there's no Wi-Fi, there's no codes. There's nothing that's going to go wrong right in the middle of a shoot where you're gonna lose connection. It just works. So I can have up to 12 different groups that I could set each one of these lights to, and you'll notice 12 different corresponding buttons here as well. For some reason it starts with 0 and ends with 11. I kind of wish it started with 1 and ended with 12, but whatever. What I'm going to do is I'm going to hit 0, which is controlling this light here, and this LCD screen here will mimic whatever this LCD screen says. So if I wanted to lower the intensity of this light, I just start holding this down, and it will lower the intensity of this light. I could then hit number 1, which is this light, and I could start doing the exact same thing. And of course, if I want to change the color temperature, I can do that as well. So I'll click on over to number 2 there, and let's make it a little bit more yellow. Now my only complaint with this remote is that it's a little bit slow to use, just in the sense that it moves 1 percentage point at a time. 100%, 99, 98, 97. You sit here holding it. It's just kind of slow to cycle through the entire range of the light with color or intensity. Keep in mind though, most of the time when you use these lights, you're not going to be placing them somewhere where they're so far away that you couldn't just easily reach them. So probably for the most part, I'm just going to be using the knobs on the back, which are incredibly fast. But if I ever wanted to mount these in the ceiling or something and they were a little bit more difficult to get to, it would be cool to use the remote. These are pretty bright. I did some Lux tests and you can see the results down here. As with almost all bicolor lights, they will be most bright in the middle of their Kelvin range, and you will lose a full stop at the red end and the blue end. One other cool feature that I didn't mention before is that it has 4 programmable buttons on the back so that you can quickly jump between settings. So if you have different intensity and Kelvin settings, you could set that to 1 or 2 or 3 or 4. And so depending on whatever style of lighting you're trying to get, you could quickly hit these buttons to jump to each one of those different settings. One small complaint I have is about the accessories and the way they mount. There doesn't seem to be any sort of quick mounting option, and instead, although I like these barn doors on this light, and I'll probably just forever leave them on this light, if you wanted to remove them, you have to use hex screws on the side, which is a pain in the butt. I personally wouldn't want to have to deal with that every time I wanted to swap out the accessories. And then these weird mounts here that attach to the top of this light and then allow you to put a larger diffusion panel further away from the light. It's kind of like a weird makeshift softbox without sides. For this to fit, you have to remove the barn doors, which I don't want to deal with, so I'm probably never going to use this option. In a perfect world, I'd love a quick release option so that I could quickly snap in barn doors or a grid, or I could pop on some sort of softbox. I love using softboxes with my lights. That's what I have going on right here, lighting me right now. And so these lights may not be quite as easy to use as some other ones that have better mounting options. So now the most important thing, how much do these lights actually cost? And I have not looked. I wanted to look this up live on camera. And I'm trying to think of how much lights like this used to cost a few years ago. I think bicolor lights that could plug in or use battery, I thought I remember them being around $800 each. I don't even know what this kit is called, so I'm just going to go to B&H and type in GVM and see what comes up. Okay, here is my kit. $779 is the normal price for this entire kit, but currently it's an additional $200 off, so $577. I know a lot of you guys watching this are going, $600 for lights is not cheaply, and you're right. You know, you could go to Lowe's right now and just buy a work light for 10 bucks and put a light bulb in it, and that would work. But when you're talking about LED light panels with bicolor shiftability that are extra bright, that you can use with AC or battery power, that have remote controls, and the barn doors, and the accessories, and the light stands, and the soft case, $600 is insanely low for what you're actually getting. Now, obviously, I can't recommend this light to everyone like I did the ring light before. The ring light was just 150 bucks, and it's so cool and specialized. I just feel like most photographers can justify spending 150 bucks. This is probably more for videographers, but if you're in the market for affordable LED light panels, this is an amazing deal.